What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at Data Dash, and today is October 13th of 2020, not September like I said in my last video. My time machine must have broke. Anyways, guys, I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are. And in today's video, I want to spend some time to not only dive into this macro perspective around Bitcoin that a lot of people have wanted to learn more about, and that is the question of how much corporations own of the underlying Bitcoin supply, and are they continuing to pick up their buying pace? And outside of that as well, diving into the altcoin market, talking about the growth in the altcoin space and where we're at right now, and also diving in a little bit to talking about Digifox later on, just to give you guys some quick updates on my cryptocurrency startup. All right, so we've got a lot of things to discuss right after our quick sponsor. And our sponsor for today's episode is Ledn.io. For those of you out there holding digital assets long-term like myself, why not put them to work? Ledn.io offers a wide range of different cryptocurrency-related services. Their Bitcoin and USD savings accounts let you earn the best risk-adjusted rates on your cryptocurrency assets. Their Bitcoin-backed loan program lets you avoid a taxable event while also being able to take a stablecoin or dollar loan off of your Bitcoin. And their B2X program allows you to double your exposure to your underlying Bitcoin. Check out the link down below in the description and start making the most of your assets today on Ledn.io. Alrighty, everyone, so let's go ahead and dive straight into it. I want to take a broad look across the crypto space before we dive into our big headline. As you can see here, over the last 24 hours, the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are in green territory, 2% or above, with a few exceptions down in relatively neutral territory, nothing down below 2%. And along with that as well here, taking a look at the 7-day performance here, we can see the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are still in the green, even better performing in the sense of price, and many of which are in double-digit territory. So we have seen a significant rebound as Bitcoin has started to tailor back up. We've seen altcoins follow as well. I want to go ahead and talk about this big headline piece, though, which is the $6.7 billion in Bitcoin being acquired by publicly traded companies. So obviously, many of you have probably heard about one or two or multiple different companies that meet into this category. You might have heard about the recent news with Square buying $50 million of Bitcoin. Or you might have, for example, heard of MicroStrategy converting practically their entire balance sheet of cash and other different types of assets into Bitcoin. And this is a trend that we obviously are starting to see grow, and I want to talk a little bit about the real pace of that growth. But before we just take this figure at face value, I do want to say that this is a bit misleading. Now, I'm a big Bitcoin bull, I'm a big crypto bull. I'm not here to ravage on Bitcoin or other digital assets, but I want to be very clear as to why this number is not as grandiose as it's claiming to be in the sense of this topic of corporations or publicly traded companies buying Bitcoin. So this article here from Decrypt links directly to this awesome open source that we can take a look at, and that is a full list of all the publicly traded companies that we know own Bitcoin at the moment. Okay, so again, that's one argument you can make. This is all we know about, but the thing is, publicly traded companies have to share their financials, so we can usually get a pretty clear picture. Now, taking a look across the board here, you do see your obvious companies like MicroStrategy and Galaxy Digital Holdings and Square that do own a very substantial amount of Bitcoin, and they're really like owning Bitcoin, right? So that's the whole goal, is for them to either hedge or for them to reap the benefits and the rewards of a Bitcoin bull run. But across the board here, we can also see that this value, this number, gets diluted by a lot of funds. Now, just to explain that here, I want to go over the chart here because it can be a bit overwhelming here. First off, you have your company name, so the name of the publicly traded company. You have the symbol or the ticker symbol, the actual market capitalization of those companies, so the total amount of shares times the market price. And then you also have percentage of Bitcoin as a part of market cap. So your actual Bitcoin holdings, which are over here at today's value, and the actual Bitcoin underlying that they own. And then this is also the percentage of the Bitcoin supply here that you can find on the open market. Again, Grayscale owning 2.14% of the overall supply. Now, the important thing to take into mind here is that in this case, a lot of these companies are funds. Okay, a lot of them are funds that have created ETN products or other investment vehicles where the company themselves is not really, whether or not it depends on the actual structure of the financial products, similar to GLD. Sometimes they can be the owners of the underlying assets. All in all, you can see CoinShares, Grayscale Trust, the 3iQ, Bitcoin Fund. All of these are funds that are building some form of financial product for people to invest in to get exposure to the underlying asset. So they're kind of offsetting, and they're basically serving this thing as the demand for other investors. And that's not to negate that this isn't important, that there are investors out there in publicly traded markets who are trading stocks, but also want to get some exposure to Bitcoin. I can tell you my dad's a part of it. I can tell you I know a dozen different people who have bought GBTC. It's a very important product. But what I'm here to talk about today is the growing trend of companies acquiring it. And even if you negate the funds here and their allocation of Bitcoin, we're nearing around $1 billion, if not a few $100 million worth of Bitcoin that is being acquired by companies like MicroStrategy, like Galaxy Digital, like Square. And what you get here is a really interesting basket of small to large companies in the fintech space that actually get what Bitcoin is about. And they're starting to acquire these substantial, relatively decent sized chunks of the supply. And the question here is that, what's to prevent Square from buying more Bitcoin as a company? What's to prevent a larger payment processor like PayPal or other fintech startups and companies from going out, taking a portion of their balance sheet and acquiring Bitcoin? As they start to realize, as companies in general start to realize that Bitcoin is an asset and other digital assets usually tend to set higher lows and higher highs in their valuations against the dollar, in this case, you're going to start to get a lot of people interested in these assets very, very soon. Even though it's a relatively new asset class, even 5-10% allocation, maybe even 1 or 2%, that could really become the norm here in the next few years. It's not there yet, right? We don't even see, again, excuse me, this is not a portion of their balance sheet here. This is the amount of Bitcoin that they own. My apologies. You can see here that this is the actual holding value in this case as a percentage of market capitalization. So again, you're going to start to see a lot of companies who are going to start stacking up Bitcoin big time, and it's going to start becoming a big portion of their company. I think we could really start to see a lot of mainstream companies get anywhere from 2.5 to 5% exposure of their balance sheet to Bitcoin by the end of this cycle. But again, we're talking about ahead of time because we don't want to buy when those companies officially get it on their balance sheet. They're going to be the last ones to do it. We want to start to invest and get interested when the smaller companies, the first few front runners, are doing it. And again, this is not just me saying this. There's a lot of other people in the community that, again, focus on data science and data analytics who I look up to. I listen to Willy Woo, for example, coming out and stating that Bitcoin purchases like this are going to continue coming through. And it makes total sense here. Now, what I want to go ahead and talk about, obviously, which a lot of people are excited about, is analyzing how this is going to play out in price. And what I always kind of drill to people is that, again, I usually keep those more conservative time frames in regards to price. I know that some of you guys are those types who want to see things happen overnight. I think all of us would like to see things happen overnight to a degree. But at the same time, I actually like the idea that it's going to take some time because I want to still average into the market. I still want to get more positions in crypto right now. One thing that's important to keep in mind is that we are working through expanding cycles from the absolute bottom to the top. It's been like that since the beginning of Bitcoin's history. So that's why we're expecting a peak here sometime in October, November, December of 2022. Almost stepping into 2023. So if we take that into mind here, the first thing we have to focus on is Bitcoin breaking above its all-time highs. And what I think is going to happen here is we're really going to have a pure example here of naked trading coming into play. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to strip down naked. Some of you would like to see that. Some of you probably wouldn't. I would say the majority of you don't want to see it. Basically speaking, what we're going to see here is Bitcoin starting to continue chugging along. I really think we've set in the relative bottom here, the higher low here, as we've been holding on this line of support. And as we've very clearly broken away from the line of resistance, we're going to break above our relative highs here from August, come back up here, retest 14K, get rejected, make this range here support, right? This previous range of resistance. This is going to become new support. We're going to kick back up, break above those June 2019 highs at 14K. We're going to come up here, test these slightly lower highs from the all-time high peak at around 17K, come down, make 14 to 15K our new support, come up here towards around 20K, get rejected, come down to 17K, and then we're going to slowly break above to 23,000, 22,000, and then start to make 20K support. And then after that, the sky's the limit. The cycle has started. Now, this is starting to lead into late 2021. All right, I know that doesn't excite a lot of people out there, But I will say again, I'm keeping my estimates conservative. And these are just rough estimates. We can't predict, a couple months out into Bitcoin in any serious nature. What I think is most important is this first portion here about using the key levels that we have to work with here. 12,000 here for Bitcoin. 14K here, 17K, 20K. These are going to be the relevant price levels we have because the price action here was very directive. There was only a few key points where we had resistance or we had support, right? This is a very short amount of Bitcoin's history, less than 1% here, that we actually have to work with here to find support and resistance. These are the levels that people are going to be watching. So anyways, again, I really think this is the critical thing to watch here, guys. And again, just speaking to this macro perspective here, one thing that I really love that Raoul Pal tweeted out the other day was how the growth of the central bank balance sheet out there, as we're talking about hedging against inflation, we really have to talk about the assets that are doing their job of hedging against inflation. And one of the best ways you can do that is simply looking at the growth of the balance sheet, the printing of new money, because as central bank balance sheets go up, as they're acquiring treasuries, as they're buying other types of bonds and financial assets, they're also injecting an equal amount of cash into the system. As we had this year, over 20% of the overall monetary supply being created by the Federal Reserve. We have 20% more cash this year than we've ever had in history. One of the biggest jumps in history. Now, to talk about this point here, Raoul Pal does these really interesting comparisons. It's a little bit pixelated here, but you can get the idea, where this is taking the G4 central bank balance sheet and dividing it by gold. And what you see here is a really, really interesting correlation where, again, as this ratio is starting to go down here, this is speaking to a good term in the sense that gold here is starting to hedge in price against the balance sheets of central banks, right? But here's a problem. Since here in 2011, gold hasn't done a very good job. Now, it's not when this goes up that gold's doing a good job. It's when it's going down that it's doing a good job here, right? Because this is showing that the balance sheet of central banks are growing against gold. Now, we have set in a lower high here, which might signal a trend shift, which is a good sign for gold. So I'm not a negative on gold by any means, but I think as much as it might be able to do a generally okay job of hedging against inflation, it certainly hasn't corrected to the degree in this ratio that we'd like to see. And if we take a look at Bitcoin here, Bitcoin, on the other hand, has done a phenomenal job against holding against the mass printing of central banks. In fact, it's been neutral since back here in 2018. And if we continue to see Bitcoin's price break above 20K, and go beyond there into 2022, I can tell you all that this level here is going to break even lower, which is good. It means that in this case, Bitcoin is starting to move heavily against the central bank balance sheet. And that's a good sign because it means Bitcoin's hedging against the new printing of money. All right. So again, I think this is really, really interesting here, guys. You guys can look into it for yourself if you'd like. I recommend you go follow Raoul Pal. You can also follow myself on Twitter if you guys are looking for some interesting information. I always like to retweet and like things that you guys might find interesting. And the last thing I want to talk about here is diving into the altcoin market. Altcoin dominance here, after a couple weeks and after Bitcoin has been starting to leap back up, has now started to set some support here at a very critical support level, and that is 40%. We are holding here very nicely, I think, in the next few weeks, going more into later November. So stepping into the next month, going into, again, Bitcoin starting to test towards some of those higher levels. I think that we're going to see altcoin dominance continue to climb higher. And it's going to be a matter of waiting for that 42.5% breakout, which is the current resistance level here, around 42.5 to 43%. So, anyways, I think when we get to that level, altcoins are going to be the area to focus, guys. I recommend don't get your thoughts siloed into one area. DeFi is taking over the world. It's sucking up all the Bitcoin. DeFi is doing just as big of a job as sucking up Bitcoin as the institutions are doing right now. Massive amounts of Bitcoin being consumed here by DeFi. Ethereum getting swallowed up here. It's been holding well since September. We can see here the total value locked up here for DeFi skyrocketing and continuing to look like it wants more. So do not sit on this, guys. Now, speaking about decentralized finance and the trend that's been growing here, I want to go ahead and spend some time to update you guys on Digifox. So Digifox has been doing really well as an application. I've been so happy, not only proud of the team for what they're doing, but I just wanted to share you guys, share with you guys some quick updates as to what we've been doing at Digifox. If you haven't given it a try, I recommend you guys go ahead and just download it. There's no cost to just trying some of the core features of the app. If you want to go ahead and earn interest through our partners such as Celsius or Compound, you can do so very natively and smoothly throughout the application. If you're also looking to make swaps through Uniswap or Kyber Network, we have them integrated directly into the wallet, and you can generate a smart contract wallet. It costs a little bit right now due to high gas fees, but you can generate one, and you can not only own your own assets, but you can trade in and out of different decentralized exchanges and own the tokens that you want in a permissionless way. And along with that as well, you can send and receive payments throughout the wallet from other users, not only just other Digifox users, but also other crypto wallets. Now, outside of that, in the sense of some core features, we've really refined a lot of the bugs and problems that people were having, maybe say 2 or 3 months ago, towards when we had launched a little while ago. I guess it's been more than 2 or 3 months, but really over the last few months, there have been a few bugs that people were experiencing. But luckily, we've smoothed things out. We're even coming out with a major update here in December, which I'll have more details on later, which is going to come with a ton of improvements to the wallet. But I recommend for those of you who are trying it, give it a try now. Definitely give it a check out, and just try it out here at the end of the day. See what you like about it, and if you want to give us any feedback or you run into any issues, please contact us at our in-app customer support. Now, the good news I wanted to share with you all is that we closed our equity crowdfunder a couple of days ago, or really about a week ago now. And we were able to raise, and this number is a little bit off on WeFunder because it includes some of the money I put into the company in 2019. It's just how you have to display it. We're still waiting for a few people to make some investments, but we have raised a confirmed total of $650,000, which we're really excited about. So again, raising from the community, not going down the route of venture capitalists, and really trying to make sure that our company is owned by you, the community, which is always a dream of mine to participate in an equity crowdfund. All done legally through the SEC, and real safe notes that will convert into equity if we go on to do our Series A. That's what I care about. I don't want to just do a Kickstarter where we give you some perks. You not only get perks, but you also got safe notes, which will, as I mentioned, convert into equity when we do a later raise. We also did our Invest in Yourself challenge, which we're actually, basically confirming the winners right now. We're setting up the payment structure where we can basically give out $2,000 to people who simply saved for their future. So again, a really big thing that we're big about is just helping people better their financial future. That's the whole goal of Digifox and my whole goal in building this company. It's not really about making money. I want to build something that, brings the next few million people into crypto. And if we can do that properly and build a better financial experience, then that's what I'm all about here and what our team is about at Digifox. All right, guys. I've rambled enough. I don't want to, we'll walk through the actual wallet a little bit later on towards the winter, but I really recommend you guys give it a chance. Again, for those who have been using Digifox from the get-go, you're going to be rewarded for it, I have no doubt. And just stay tuned for some awesome updates. Again, give it a try. There's no cost to it. And last but not least, just wanted to mention you guys that I'm going to be attending Blockdown 2020, a free virtual conference that you guys can attend. So sign up, get your tickets. I hope to see you there. And I can't wait to not only speak there alongside many other great speakers, but outside of that as well, get to meet you all when you get to attend the event. All right. So anyways, guys, I've obviously probably talked enough today. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. And if you like this video, drop a like, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell icon so you don't miss another video. And until the next video, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.